never know what's going to happen with this kind of stuff, right? It's a ball of games here, I'm telling you, folks. We never know what's going to happen. So the next person I'd like to invite up here is one of our esteemed Ontario educators. Put your hands together for Mike J.
Well, the Auditor General just told us that the Ontario Chief Health Officer is not calling the shots, which means it's not about health. Very simple. All who's calling the shots is Fascist Ford and his unelected bureaucrats at the behest of the globalists. That's what's happening. We know this. But what's really important is that, and this is very important to know, we had the Premier of Alberta yesterday. I just saw it. He acknowledged the Great Reset is real. He acknowledged that it's a socialist takeover and it's about taking away freedoms. This is the head of state, this is the Premier of Alberta. So from now on, when people try to say you're a conspiracy theorist, hand them your tin hat. Because it's not. We're not. It's now mainstream about the Great Reset. A Premier of Alberta actually said it. And he even mentioned Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum. It's his book. So this is mainstream now. We know, for all the people who are asleep, you can't call us a conspiracy theorist anymore. We've been fighting for you all this time. All the people who are asleep, we're fighting for you. God, I hope one day you'll realize we're not your enemies. The Great Reset. There was a promo video that was pulled, but it really comes down to one thing they said. Quote, "You will own nothing, and we'll be happy." I don't think so. Over my dead body. See, a lot of people, we saw what happened. I remember when I was at Adamson Barbecue seeing those cavalry come at us. Oh boy, what a day that was. But you notice something that happened that same day. They specifically went for a small business owner, and for a pastor, and for an elected official. 3 key people, same day. Makes you kind of wonder why. Why those particular 3? And why is it that for those 3, especially for the small business owner, that you were willing to destroy the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? As the police officer last week said, the retired OPP officer, they shattered it like a piece of glass. Why would they do that for a small business? I'm going to give you an idea why. If you're a small business owner, you're surviving for yourself and you don't need the government handout. They have to get rid of small business because in order to bring in universal basic income, to bring in communism, or commie cash, I like to call it, they can't be making a living for themselves. So, you need to stay open because these big corporations, they're going to use their muscle because they tried to destroy small business so we can only buy food and provisions from them. And we already started to see the shift. They're calling the shots now. Costco, we don't care if the law says you have a mask exemption. We've decided you have to wear something. Oh, so a corporation's going to tell me that my rights can be taken over just because you say so? So this is my point. It's coming to now we have to wear a mask. Now it's going to be you'll have to get vaccinated. We saw it on the news yesterday. The unvaccinated, we may have to limit their movements like hell. So the they went after small businesses because they can't bring in communism if small businesses are open.
Yeah.
This is so important to recognize.
What's the book?
Because if you don't need the government, you don't need their handout. If you don't need their handout, you don't have to take all these bullshit rules. Open up, all of you. They cannot stop all of you.
I see.
They can't.
Stop talking.
You have a right to open because you have a right to live. You have a right to breathe. You have a right to eat. And you know what? I'm going to read something for you. Here's a nice quote from a former prime minister of our country. Certainly not Commie Justin. Certainly not Fascist Ford, or totalitarian Tory, or tyrannical Tam.
Do you think all those guys have gotten pants?
Hey, if the shoe fits, you use the right name, right?
Cash. Personal.
I heard Ford got 90.
I'm going to end this with a quote from Diefenbaker.
Trying to find out.
Fuck them all, man.
And when you find out what it's from, you're going to go, all right.
Fucking baker.
Quote.
You can't take it with you.
This is from a prime minister in 1960, people.
They're not buying songs.
I am Canadian. A free Canadian. Free to speak without fear. Free to worship God in my own way. Free to stand for what I think is right. Free to oppose what I believe wrong. Free to choose those who govern my country. This heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and all of mankind. Now, I was in the House of Commons debate in 1960 when they're bringing in the Canadian Bill of Rights. And those Bill of Rights are still active, and they will always be active because we were born with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Nice to have you back, brother.